Hello, my name is Samantha Clark, and this is my first screencast for DLE 915. Um, I am learning a lot about linguistics throughout acquiring my TESOL, so I wanted to focus on something that I was unsure about. That way I'd learn more about it. So I'm focusing on the English Learner Program models on page 34 through 36 in Chapter 1 of Writing and Learning in ESL. So to start, the first one is mainstream of general education. As I go through this, we will see that the choice of model is dependent on its features and the needs of the students. So our goal for mainstream of general education is proficiency in English. A couple models are like this. Language of instruction is English, and this is more of an immersion model. The students in the classroom are majority native English speakers with few ELLs, and there is no L1 support provided. The second is structured of English immersion. This one is specifically an immersion model. English is the language of instruction. ESL interaction is either provided in class or as a pull-out, so there is a little bit more support for those ELLs. The goal is proficiency in English as well, and the students in the classroom are very similar to the first one, but it is a mainstream classroom that the ELLs are in, and the L1 may be used for support if feasible. The third one is sheltered instruction or specially designed academic instruction in English, or SDAIE. The language of instruction is English with sheltering support for academic content learning specifically. The goal is proficiency in English specifically for academic use, so throughout education. And the students in the classroom are just the ELLs. I'm actually a tutor for a class like this at SDSU. So when students come into SDSU and their first language is not English, they go into Linguistics 100 rather than RWS 100. And the focus is getting them used to writing papers in English and doing projects in English and communicating in English specifically for academic use. The L1 may be used for support if feasible. Often in this class, students of the same language just speak to each other for help, but at other schools there may be a teacher that knows the L1. The fourth one is the Newcomer program. This is intensive English, so it's over a really short period of time. The goal is to transition to English instruction in sheltered or mainstream classrooms. The students in the classrooms are just ELLs who are recent immigrants and those with interrupted schooling. And the L1 may be used for support if feasible. Modified classroom instruction and support is all primarily in English. The instruction is just modified. The fifth is the Early Exit Transitional Bilingual Program. So the L1 is used as a bridge to English. This one's much different than the Late Exit that we will see next. This one, we try to get students out in 2 to 3 years to transition to English-only instruction. These are all ELLs, but both the L1 and English are used until the transition 2 to 3 years later. The sixth one for Late Exit is a similar structure, but the students are given 4 to 5 years, or 5th to 6th grade rather than 2nd to 3rd, to transition to English-only instruction. Also just ELLs, just 4 to 5 years instead of that 2 to 3. The seventh model is the Maintenance Bilingual Program. So there are 2 bilingual programs listed in this list. This one is the one in which the L1 is used to teach literacy and academic content along with English. The language development goal is for L1 maintenance and English proficiency, so we're making sure that that first language doesn't fall behind in skill level as students are learning English, especially if they start learning English at a younger age. The students in the classroom are mixed, so native English speakers are learning another language, and the ELLs are learning English. And the primary language receives sustained focus along with gradual development of the L2, that second language, which is English for the English language learners. And the dual language program is a stronger bilingual program, basically. So the language of instruction is English and the L1, used to teach literacy and academic content. They are used equal to one another. There is a development goal of full bilingualism and biliteracy for social and academic purposes. The students in the classroom are the native English speakers and ELLs. The use of primary language. Students use both languages to learn language and academic content in 2 languages. So just to finish up with some aspects of successful programs, whichever program is used, the ones that are shown to be successful by the Peregoy and Boyle book, 1, instruction must be tailored to a particular group's needs. 2, there must be a focus on both literacy and oral language development. 3, teachers must be prepared and pay attention to language acquisition and cultural traits. 4, the school culture must be open and respectful of the diverse nature of the students. And 5, parent and community involvement matters in language development. Thank you so much for listening to my English Learner Program Models presentation.